Hi and welcome back. If you went out before and come back in, you can possibly hear me now, where you couldn't hear me before about with the indictments. It's very stupid of me not to check out the volume, and I apologise for that. I'm just going to share. I want to share this. Okay. All righty, guys. Can you see where I am again? All right. Back here again, and I'm not going to read the complaint in its entirety, but I'm going to go over a brief of who Nygaard is. Nygaard is a person who is a fashion designer a long time ago. I'll show you the picture of Nygaard. Because you'll notice some Peter Nygard is. Right? Okay, Peter Nygard is accused and been sentenced for 11 years, and I've heard hardly anything on him. You know, he's does the same type of setup as Puff. He lures them in with money and presents as sort of. He's from Canada. He's a model scout in a sense, you know, and he uses his position of power to launder money and avoid tax, and basically take advantage of his position he's lucky to have. It's disparaging to women to have pamper parties, as he calls them. And what he'd do, under the Nygaard brand, he would get the money for these pamper parties by transferring the cash from its bank accounts in Canada, routing it to New York, and then depositing a Bahamian bank account that belongs to Bahamian holding company called through Nygaard. So he made up his own bank. You know, do you understand me? He used his boats to do these parties in. With, you know, Yves Saint Laurent on the front, famous perfume brand, clothing brand. He would refer to these women as his girlfriends. These girls were all under 18. They were not allowed to leave without his permission from these places of work. It's a lot more than what Puff Daddy did. Nygaard girlfriends were also forced to accompany him on sponsored fashion tours in the United States and Canada, elsewhere around the world, where they were required to commit acts and satisfy perverse sexual desires. Okay? Like, he described women as like an 8, and then like she'd make a good solid C, you know, stuff like that. These type of comments never went on, you know, he was known for it, you know. Just going to check to see if you can see me now. I didn't have the 2-step verification because I had to check out me. Okay, please just show me fucking thing, will you? I just want to see if you're seeing it, you see. Okay, you can see it. Where am I now? Can you hear me? I'm sorry if you've not heard everything I've said up to now. Okay. I'm going to have to check on my phone because checking on the computer is just driving me crazy. You know what? It's a good job I don't do this for views, isn't it? Seriously, I'll be ruined. I'm not even sure. I am live. I'm not even sure. I am live. I'm not even sure. Okay. So Nygaard, he's not as violent as so far I've read. He was very controlling with these women, you know. I'm going to read it anyway, okay? Because there's no point me talking about it. Because I can't explain what these people do. You know, it's really hard. The victim that Nygaard found most attractive and sexually desirable were forced through a combination of fraud, coercion, and psychological force, and manipulation, and physical force, or knowing that the victim had not attained the age of 18 years to become a full-time S worker, which he referred to as his girlfriends. Nygaard's girlfriends were coerced, enticed, and moved into his Nygaard K property with promises of money and future modelling opportunity, where they were not allowed to leave without his express permission. They were forced to meet his every demand, including without limitation to recruiting new victims to attend his pamper parties, so that Nygaard could continue his pattern and practice of forcing children and women into commercial acts. Nygaard's girlfriends were also forced to accompany him on sponsored tours to the United States, Canada, and elsewhere around the world. Nygaard girlfriends were also paid various amounts of cash in United States currency submitted to and provided by Nygaard Company's financial personnel and paid directly by Nygaard to help ensure their compliance and silence. Nygaard's longtime girlfriends were also put on Nygaard's company's official payroll. They were paid monthly through direct deposits to funds from Nygaard corporate accounts by Nygaard corporate accounts. They required submit and force invoices that stated that they were being paid for modelling promotional services, even though they were assets. Okay. The amounts of their payments were based upon their level of servitude to Nygaard, their ability to satisfy his sexual desires, and their ability to recruit new victims for him to engage in commercial acts with. Nygaard's arrangement for Nygaard's girlfriends and victims were made through Nygaard's corporate travel department, which is headquartered in the United States. Nygaard frequently took his girlfriends and victims to New York City residence. Give me 2 minutes, please. Listen, bugger, you are getting on my nerves. You are. What do you want now? Yeah. Okay. Nygaard used employees paid by Nygaard companies used company-owned computers, email phones, and small social media accounts to lure his victims to the locations in the United States, the Bahamas, Canada, and elsewhere around the world, so that Nygaard could use force, fraud, coercion, and knowing the victim had not attained the age of 18 years, to cause them to engage with commercial acts. Nygaard kept a database of potential victims that was maintained by Nygaard companies, corporate information technology departments in corporate server, mostly maintained in the United States. By the mid-2000s, this database was confirmed to have contained information on over 7,500 underage girls and women. 5,700 people. So this man being locked up is a good thing, okay? Nygaard companies and Nygaard employed people to work at what Nygaard referred to as Nygaard's corporate. I'm not going to mention all that. I'm just going to say NCCC, okay? Among other duties, CC employers were used to ensure that potential victims attained the pamper parties by contacting them and arranging for their transportation to the parties. Thereafter, N seduced, coerced, incited and paid and promised these victims mobelling careers to cause them to engage in commercial acts. All CC employees were paid by NC. Upon arrival at the gated NC property, most of N's victims were required to register, in brackets, with CC, which was in charge of planning and coordinating corporate events by providing their personal information, such as the names, telephone numbers, email addresses, and the identities of the persons who invited them. They were also required to pose for headshots and full body photographs. The pictures and registration forms were filled out by Nygaard employees, were scanned and emailed directly to Nygaard so that he could review who was in attendance while sitting upstairs in his bedroom. Nygaard would then use information to select his potential victims for the night by meeting his self-avowed standard of an 8 in the face and a nice toilet. The information was then entered. I think he liked doing things on them, like defecating. The information was then entered into C's database so that Nygaard had a ready list of prospective recruits who were potential victims to pursue at any given time. The database contained information and pictures of over 7,000 underage girls, dating back to 1987. The database was hosted on a corporate server and was maintained by Nygaard's IT department. This man had it all. He had his own IT, he had his own bank in the Bahamas. He's doing it for them all, isn't he? He's the sacrifice for every other person who's perverse. This is how these things work. It wouldn't, there was no sign of this in Diddy's case. But this definitely reeks of it. Diddy was always a bit fruity, You know what I mean? Nygaard CC was used to keep track of, make contact with, and lure potential victims to NCs through a database. Nygaard instructed the company paid employees to call potential victims to invite them to pamper parties, transport girls to and from the pamper parties, or to otherwise pay for their transportation. Like, these people could be going to Diddy parties and things like that under the guise of him providing these girls. Do you understand me? Nygaard CC also used social media to post about these parties and to direct message potential victims who met Nygaard's specifications to invite to pamper parties. NCC knowingly recruited these victims for Nygaard and were paid by Nygaard companies, which cash routed through New York to and paid out Nygaard corporate accounts in Barbados, probably, used the Nygaard company's resource, including United States currency. Nygaard on his own and through his direction to his employees paid his victims for commercial acts. Nygaard used his financial resources, influence, power in the Bahamas, and psychological manipulation to intimidate his victims and to ensure that his crimes were not reported. Those of his girlfriends, in brackets, who tried to leave him were harassed and threatened by Bahamian police who were on Nygaard's payroll and who were paid by Nygaard Company's United States currency. And there's a link there. He passed at 44, probably committed suicide through working for the company, you know? You don't know. Well, that was the proof of the complaint anyway. Anyway, let's go on. He 100% calls the shots in this company where Diddy didn't. Whatever was going on with Diddy was much more complicated. Form of trafficking, if you understand me. Nygaard made a concentrated and deliberate effort to protect and conceal his criminal activities. I'm dyslexic, by the way, so specifically Nygaard initiated a scheme to purchase police protection and political cover in Bahamas by making regular payments of tens of thousands of dollars to law enforcement, government officials, regulators, and even former cabinet ministers who became the Prime Minister of Bahamas, because it's part of the Commonwealth, as I say. Bahamas still. This scheme, wow. I wonder if he knew the royals. This scheme was so successful that the victims who escaped Nygaard Clay were often brought back to K by Bahamian police in an effort to enforce fear, control, dominance over his victims. Nygaard regularly flaunted his potential power to control Bahamian police and the Bahamian government by inviting, my cat's such a dome, by enforcing Bahamian government by inviting and parading government officials at his Nygaard property, to endorse fear, intimidate his former girlfriends by slashing their tires, committing arson, paying police to threaten them, to arrest them, and by having them followed. Nygaard intentionally used Nygaard Company's reinforcements and brand to recruit, lure, and entice children and women to cause them engage in commercial acts. Okay, I'm going to be a minute. I put this link up. Oh, it's unavailable. So that's taken down, eh? That's weird. That is weird. I haven't heard anything on this story. Why haven't people been talking about this? It's bizarre. He's the biggest creep I've seen out there in the fashion world. It's people like Anna Wintour who don't do anything about these situations. In a sense, she's very powerful and she could expose these people and change how Vogue is run. I mean, Vogue now is a totally different magazine, but at the time, this is going back to 87, as well. And I mean, into the 2000s, this is a case that's been unfolding for a long time. And for some reason, he's got total anonymity out on the internet. Why? Why is there not any much up for him of you? You know what? Who gave me this information? Gas? Grok? Grok gave me this lead. I can't believe it. Thank you, Grok. There you are. Nygaard companies benefited financially from Nygaard's sexual trafficking venture by facilitating NC's assets in foreign commerce. The NCs enjoyed and promoted promulgating Nygaard companies' projects internationally. Nygaard is the face of Nygaard. Yeah, I'd say. Right, here we're getting to it. Read that while I go. I can't say all that on YouTube, okay? And I shouldn't be having it up, but I'm going to make a coffee and be right back, I swear. Okay? I think out of all the AIs out there, Grok is definitely the best one. You know, you can ask 2 questions a day, and it does help. You know, I mean, I've now cut down on medication that, like, I didn't think I could cut down on. Okay, this is disgusting, by the way. The first victim of Nygaard was 14. Jane Doe 1. Nygaard showed all this, right? Okay, I can't say it. Okay. And number 2 victim. He gave her 3 pills and instructed her to take them all at once with a wine. Oh my God. 3 pills. It's the dangerous things they do to these women that scares the shit out of me. She blacked out. Everyone's in on it. Everyone. The next moment she woke up, she saw Nygaard still asleep next to her in her bed. She immediately got out of the bed, 14, mind you, and noticed blood on the sheets because she was a virgin. She then went to the bathroom and immediately cleaned herself. There was blood around her. Nygaard gave her approximately 5,100 bills in currency. She initially refused to take the money, but Nygaard insisted, of course. Make it look like trash. Jane Doe described him responded that would think about Nygaard's assistance, explained that Nygaard was not really a bad person, was just a selfish at times. This is it, selfishness. It's not badness, it's selfishness. It is bad, yes, but it's on a grandeur level. It's unexplainable, okay? He raped these people anally, and he gave her £2,000 for each girl she brought. Because he was a pervert. She's not explaining what he's into, but he offered to give her drugs that would help her defecate. She told Nygaard no, and decided that she could no longer take Nygaard's perverse sexual activities. Victim number 3, 15, an older cousin of Jane Doe. 4. She found her in her neighbourhood, picked her up and escorted her to Nygaard K the next day for pamper party. At the pamper party, common employee ushered Jane Doe free to Nygaard's bedroom, where he was waiting. Here is a situation. At another pamper party at which Jane Doe 3 and her cousin Jane Doe 4 were present, Jane Doe 3's mother came outside the Nygaard gate and threatened to call the police if they did not let her in to retrieve the girls. Jane Doe 3's mother was shouting at the gate to retrieve the girls. Ultimately, Jane Doe's 3 and 4 left with Jane Doe's mother. This one's 14, Jane Doe 4. The younger cousin of Jane Doe 3. I mean, these girls are going there just basically to please him. Always virgins as well. Wonder how much he gave her. Jane Doe 5, 17. She was bleeding from her back end afterwards. Jane Doe 6, 15. He wanted her to get her some marijuana for him, took her to the bedroom, undressed her in the jacuzzi. Disgusting. He asked her to shit in his mouth. Okay. He sodomized her. Jane Doe 7, 18. Seems like the older they are, the worse he's asking them to do things. She felt drugged, okay? And pain in her anus, so she was raped, yeah. Jane Doe 29. Oh no, Jane Doe 8, 29. Jane Doe 8 was a key employee at Nygaard for several years, providing services for the guests of Nygaard from 2008 to 2014. In 2014, Jane Doe 8 was raped. Okay. She rarely drinks while at work. However, she accepted a glass of wine from one of the Nygaard's girlfriends shortly before being summoned to Nygaard's room. Shortly after arriving, she noticed her arms become numb and she fell unconscious. She continued to work there after this incident out of financial necessity. Although she did what she could to avoid coming into contact with him, Nygaard demanded that she begin to have sex with him regularly, requirements of keeping her job. When she refused, she was terminated in the end. In 2017, Jane Doe was abducted for 4 days and flown to Toronto in Fort Lauderdale by an employee of his. Adults, Jane Doe 9. There was another employee of his. For over years, she was abused on numerous occasions. In 2015, when she was ordered by Nygaard, this residence in Marina del Rey in California, he overrode the lock on her guest room bedroom and entered without her permission. She awoke with him trying to do stuff to her. Jane Doe 10, who's 15. I feel terrible when I read stuff out on these children. She has to receive 2 stitches and medical treatment. Nygaard's conduct and outlined above violates the TVPA, which outlaws using means of interstate or foreign commerce to recruit, entice, obtain, and lure a person of force or coerce that person, or knowing that the person had not attained the age of 18 to engage in commercial acts. Nygaard companies are guilty of aiding and abetting Nygaard's violations by knowingly facilitating and enabling illegal conduct. These people are taking it on the back on their own, you know. It's a mobster mentality. Do you understand? It's like, it's the new form of mob. Human trafficking is one of the most profitable things there is. Girls go missing all the time. Plaintiffs are also at serious risk of retaliatory harm because Nygaard has tremendous wealth and power and has used it to retaliate against others who have attempted to come forward, including by means of arson, property destruction, and threats of physical violence. It's mafioso, okay? Plaintiffs are also particularly vulnerable because of the trauma that they have been subjected to, their socioeconomic status, and the corruption of local law enforcement by Nygaard through bribery and political influence. Just having a sip of my coffee. Jane Doe 1 was a Bahamian citizen born in Nassau, New Province of Bahamas. in 2001. In July 2015, Jane Doe 1 was attacked at the age of 14 by attending this party by Nygaard himself. And so was all the what we just seen on screen, okay? I've given you the ages of them. I just don't want to read it out. But the Bahamian citizens, okay? He's taking advantage of the area, like Epstein did, you know. He's taking advantage of young girls, probably black young girls, you know. I mean, look how Rihanna was brought here, you know. She was only a young girl, wasn't she? Very young. Defendant Peter Nygard is a Finnish and Canadian citizen with permanent residence in the United States, including New York City, Los Angeles, and Florida. He is the founder, chairman, figurehead, icon, and indirect of 100% owner of Nygaard Companies. Okay. Nygaard Companies. Nygaard himself alleged the United States federal court he carries on business at various locations around the world as a designer, manufacturer, a distributor, a seller of women's clothing and accessories. Nygaard and his business are closely associated in the public eye. They don't mention the people he's worked for. I find weird. Always comes back to some people like Vogue and stuff of that nature. I'm going to try and read the law. We all know that he's a very wealthy man. He's got connections. He's got all that going on. He's got influence. Nygaard knowingly aided and abetted, facilitated and directly participated in a legal venture by paying for and hosting pamper parties, in inverted commas, under the Nygaard brand, withdrawing large sums of money, paying employees at all such events, allowing use of company-owned Air-Force jet to transport victims, like Epstein. Nothing on his domain. I mean, that's strange. Yeah, he's claiming like the jurisdictions that under there, it should be dealt with there, you know. Like the serious risk of retaliatory harm because Nygaard has tremendous wealth and power. That just scares me alone, for these girls. I just want to see what these things say, Page not found. See. Maybe it's because I'm in UK. I don't know. I'm not going to try anymore now. Aye. This one's for the save. I like to study these cases as well, I'm very good at telling when someone's full of shit, After years on this earth, you sort of get a good rasp of it, And there was always such evil about these two people, Sean Combs and Peter Nygard. There's so much evil. They can't talk about other people there, probably. There's no one else but him being accountable. We were up here, weren't we? And a forced jet, to transport and victims from Bahamas to destinations in the United States and around the world, allowing use of company-owned boats. To transport liquor, drugs and supplies for pampering parties, and paying Nygaard's commercial sex acts with Jane Doe's 1 to 10 and class members, among other actions. Nygaard's companies also benefit from such activities, So his Playboy image, it's saying here, was like a promotion for the brand, And there was nothing classy about him, I don't think. NTVPA outlaws as trafficking activities that affect interstate foreign commerce. The TVPA makes it outlaw for A, whoever knowingly, 1, in or affecting interstate foreign commerce, or within this special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States recruits. By him saying he knows the jurisdiction rights of each country tells me that he knows that he's doing wrong. Okay. Two, benefits financially or by receiving anything of value from participation in the venture which has engaged in act described as violation of paragraph 1. Okay? Because you're working for a sex trafficking network then. Okay? Knowingly or accepting where the act constituting the violation of paragraph 1 is advertising in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion described in subsection E2 or any combination of such means will be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial act, or that the person has not attained the age of 18 and will be caused to engage in commercial acts, shall be punished and provided in subsection B. An alleged herein defendants have knowingly used interstate and foreign commerce to violate by enticing and recruiting Jane Does 1 to 10 and other class members knowingly. Now, these Jane Does 1 to 10, only 2 of them are age of consent. Okay. It occurred in the Bahamas after December 19th of 2003, which affects the jurisdiction rights and all that business. I don't know about it. He paid people cash, okay, in places like New York. So you're breaking the law by bringing someone from Barbados to a country and then paying him for acts. I don't understand, but in a respect, that's what he's doing. He's taking girls from wherever he finds them, okay? Nygaard has permanent residency in New York City. These people, these traffickers have all got a connection to New York City, which is above his flagship store on 44th Street in Broadway, near Times Square. A building is leased to Nygaard International. 72. Nygaard has a residence in Los Angeles and New York. Florida. Nygaard also owns companies, retail, he owns so many. Orion Asset Management Incorporated. See, the far right will be pushing all the Diddy stuff, but we've not heard about this. Like, I can tell when people are racist as well. It's like so obvious now, but I couldn't before. I really couldn't. It's easy enough saying, listen, I respect, but when you're not openly acknowledging other traffickers that are out there, that to me tells me you're trying to push an agenda. You really are. And that's why I try not to get caught out with the outcome of something, but I will get to the outcome of Banner Badona's testimony. I will get to the end of Shannon Gilbert's motion, and I do believe that Shannon wasn't killed by Rex Human. I do believe that now, but there's reasons for that. Okay, I also feel Hackett was more involved than what he says, even if he's admitting that he gave us something that night. By doing that, there's something there, okay? And I'm not sure that's got anything to do with Rex, what his alibi was for that moment and all that business, which is probably going to get reviewed again at some point, But I will put an end to stuff like the Shannon Gilbert, what I feel on that. I will put an end to what Banner Bandona's testimony that I didn't fully read out. I do feel he's a pawn. He's not a knight, did he? Okay, this is a knight on the chessboard. Okay, he gets things done. For who? I don't know. Okay, but in virtue of this, he's doing it for the clothing, the fashion industry, the people who pay for that type of behaviour. Okay. The defendant Nygaard is a renowned fashion figure, an executive in the women's apparel industry. He has estimated net worth of approximately 900 million through various business entities that he owns in the fashion industry. Okay, so he owns them. Defendant Nygaard Incorporated is a Delaware corporation that distributes women's apparel with its global headquarters in the United States and New York. Okay, it's like a Vogue brand. They have all different types of people making stuff, doing this, making hats, making leather, making handbags, whatever. And they go to places like Vogue, okay, for fashion, what's the word? Notoriety of some kind, okay, and it's a paid. Now it's all enticed, and it's got to look that it's a one-person operation when it's not. It's made to look like that, okay. Factual allegations. Okay, Defendant Nygaard Incorporated, Delaware Corporation, distributes global women headquarters in New York. The Canadian corporation clothing manufacturers and suppliers in the world annual sales exceeds 50 million. So you add that 900 million and the 50 million. It's a very wealthy man. Okay. That's what they've been hiding from us. This is what they've been hiding with us. They've been putting the diddy shut out so nobody looks into this. Why hasn't nobody mentioned this guy? You know. Nygaard Holdings and Bahamas Shell Corporation. Registered in the Bahamas, it does not engage in active business or trading activities. Okay. So it's just a sleeping company. Nygaard uses Nygaard Holdings as a depository for funds routed through New York from Nygaard International. Nygaard pays for his illegal trafficking venture, okay, through that means. Do you understand? That's how he's cleaning it, if you like, cleaning the money. Nygaard is a founder, chairman, figurehead, icon, and was directly and indirectly 100% owner of Nygaard companies at the time of the event described in this complaint. He controls every aspect of Nygaard company's business, and nothing can be done without his express authorization and direction. Nygaard commingless to Nygaard Company's funds, uses Nygaard Company as his personal bank account, and does not observe any corporate formalities. How's he got away with this so long? Been in the public eye too. Creepy. I mean, he looks like he uses steroids as well. Imagine how nasty and angry he gets. I don't have any ads on any of my things. I want to keep it that way. So if you can help me support the channel and for me to be able to give you information and to keep on this and to keep giving me some inspiration, please feel free to make a donation to my PayPal. That'll be excellent and fantastic of you. I want to give this more than it's clearly. I'm absolutely disgusted. The time I put into Diddy when this was going on, I'm really upset about that. He names everything after himself. You know, he's the darling of this fashion world, isn't he? He's got to take the heat for all them people out there. Nygaard company's brand by renting it out and having events and parties with celebrities and politicians included. Oprah Winfrey, George Bush, Robert De Niro and Sean Connery. So Nygaard companies also run party brands and they do parties for celebrities and things like that. Nygaard K. NASA Report hosts a racy girl modelling search in the Bahamas. There are so many things that can be said about the Bahamas, but the first thing that comes to mind is Yaman. I tried with my best behind me accent, Yaman. That sums up the overwhelming feeling you get from visiting a very special place on the planet, a majestic beauty of the island paradise, crystal blue waters. So he has all that, and these girls come along to his parties, and these celebrities come. It's like Epstein, all right. I mean, Diddy is more for the black community side of it, I feel. Look at that for a jet. Not got Lolita Express on it though, you know, not that obvious. And Force. He's got his own plane company for his illegal ventures, traveling, trafficking drugs, women, what you name it. The passengers would have their passports collected. Their return flight was cancelled by the travelling agency personnel, and approval from Nygaard was required to leave Nygaard Island. He's got his own island in the Bahamas. Once Nygaard selects his victims for the night, his employees are sometimes instructed to drug them with Rohypnol and other mind-altering drugs in their drinks, referred to as the happy juice, and to escort the victims to his bedroom. Nygaard uses the pamper parties to promote Nygaard company's brand, and it's very, very clever, and facilitates the commercial acts. Okay, he is acting on behalf of Nygaard companies. You see what this is trying to tell us? There's more to it than that. That's what this is saying. He's acting, okay, on behalf, under the brand and reputation of the companies. So he's taking the shit for every other person, like you said, Moron, or all that, by facilitating for this, okay? I believe that Saint Laurent was a bit of a goer. Nygaard is able to engage in a uniform pattern and practice of ass trafficking due in part to the Bahamian culture, political corruption and his power in the Bahamas. Sexual crimes are distractingly underreported in the Bahamas due to our weak laws and that are poorly enforced. Oh, I never knew that. In 2007, the Bahamas had the highest rate of reported Rs in the world. And in 2016, it had the highest incidence of rape per capita of the Caribbean. The UN Women Narrative on Gender-Based Violence in the Caribbean found that the worldwide average of the R was 15% of 100,000, while Bahamas has an average of 133% of 100,000. The global estimates are between 60 to 95% of actual crimes go unreported, okay, in the Bahamas. That's why he's doing it there. The province of it, and that's possibly why Epstein only got charged for so little, because Saint Princess Margaret used to love the Bahamas. She's the Queen's sister. She's no longer alive now, but I'm sure it got its independence lately or something like that. I'm not sure now, but it's gone worse, unfortunately. I'm going to have a look at the chat, see what you guys think. No one listening. Yeah, that's always the case in this case. You know what? It's funny, the Diddy trial and everything, but we didn't hear nothing about this man, this guy. And we all know who he is. Sad. It's very sad. But that's what I'm here for, to report the truth. Rape is particularly underreported in the Bahamas due to its culture, stigmatization, victim shaming, government corruption, and weakly enforced laws. For example, in 2013, the Bahama Crisis Center in New Province alone counseled 122 new clients for R and 42 for sexual assault, while during the same period the police record only 104 rapes for the entire country. During the same time period, data from Princess Margaret's Hospital emergency room alone shows it treated nearly 1.5 times the amount of the country-wide rapes reported into the police. So they actually went to hospital, most of the people. The local word for rape in Bahamas is hush. Wow. It is not discussed or spoken of as a societal problem. Wow. In 2018, the State Department issued travel advisory warning that sexual assault is common in the Bahamas and advertising tourists to exercise caution. In the Bahamas also have very low police clearance rates. On average, the percentage of our cases solved between 2010 and 2015 were 40%. This means that rapes are highly unlikely to be prosecuted. It's like this country, which does little to stimulate better reporting. Another reason why crimes are so widely under-investigated and prosecuted in the Bahamas is because violence against women and girls is often seen as a private matter in which the state should not interfere. Our culture of acceptance of interrelated but strong patriarchal gender norms is prevalent, which can lead to failures in response by law enforcement. I take my time, by the way, I don't rush. So if you're in a rush forward, I'm alive right now, but, come back later. I don't get paid for this, so I try my best, but I just don't want to not tell people about this, because this is like important, you know, and especially because the channel I am is against crimes against women and children. Okay. We spoke about the Diddy case, the civil matters there, why he can't just be released. This man's got 11 years, so I think this man got 11 years. Diddy won't get that. Diddy won't get that. I wonder where he got locked up, this guy. I'll have a look. I'm not going to do a whole documentary on someone. This is for people who to make documentaries with, you know, evidence. I think a lot of people out there forget that you can look online and find things like this, you know. I don't know why this isn't spoken about. I feel like my channel's being shadow banned in a way because of it all. But because I'll be honest, my personality is a very positive person. I like my family, I like things. I could talk about Star Wars to the cars, come home. I can do art, you know, what's my true passion. But, you know, my true passion is for change, you know, change in society, awareness, you know. You can't put a price on that. You don't want to waste your time listening to people like me. You think that everything you buy is no, some form or other. Someone suffered to have that t-shirt you have. You know, that's true. It's true. More fair trade needs to be done. There's so many charlatans out here. I'm nobody special. I show my face. I've not been hurt. You know, yeah, you listen to people. I'm in no way feeling that I would feel suicidal. It's the first thing that a suicidal person says. Have you noticed as well? So I'm profound in my thinking. I'm not that way where I'm great at spelling, or I know my weaknesses. I know I'm not as smart as others, but I just try my best to get fair awareness out there. I don't try and glam things up. I don't want to take sides politically on anything. I'm not going to judge women who should be judged. Do you understand? But there is charlatans in this as well. Not in this case, but, you know, which make it absolutely hard for victims to come forward. And there's so many charlatans out there on YouTube pretending to be, you know. When I read about Diddy, you know, about, I can't remember which girl it was, and she lived above him in Georgia, and she had no idea Sean Combs was living above her, and he tried it on with her, and she didn't accept it. So from that point, she didn't get any help with her promotional work. These people work. This is how Diddy's and Epstein's and this guy work, you know. Political and government corruption has been widespread in the Bahamas. Political and government corruption is rooted in the fabric of Bahamas society. Huh? The government has laws to combat corruption and by public officials, but they are inconsistently applied. I've met a guy from Barbados who comes to this country, and he was such a sweetheart, you know. I can't believe it. That it's allowed to be run this way. Such a beautiful island, despite one of the 10 Bahamian disclosing that they had been forced to be paid a bribe within the past year to obtain public services. So we restricted the payments. The public, even the council can't be run. It'd go to absolute chaos. So they needed the money. Using victimization to benefit from. It's disgusting. To the law enforcement, according to a survey, almost half were too scared of the consequences, such as potential retaliation and victimization, to report allegations of bribery by public officials. Yeah, you're in trouble if you can't do that. You know what I mean? Fear is a major obstacle to stamping out a problem that the Bahamian Prime Minister recently estimated costs Bahamian economic approximately $200 million a year. For this reason, few people in Bahamas, I keep saying Barbados, Bahamas, approximately 6% actually report corruption when they experience it. Sad. Overwhelmingly, the survey, it's like these slimy governments and things like that. They've got total control, and we're nothing to these people. We have the same problem. It's the same MO every time, isn't it? Do you understand? It's a rooted international problem of chaos where our money relies on it. No one trusts the police. Due to the low police clearance rates for investigations of S crimes and the cultural attitude towards sexual crimes, victims of such crimes and crimes of rarely pursue their claims. They are ashamed, embarrassed, fear retaliation and victimization. Rightfully do not trust the law enforcement to pursue and prosecute their attackers, and do not trust the court system to provide with them with justice. It's disgusting. Nygaard made significant financial contributions and efforts in order to help Progressive Liberal Party and its leader Perry Christie, the former Bahamian Prime Minister of 2002 to 2007 and between 2012 and 2017, gain power in the Bahamas by winning the 2012 election. So we helped him do that. Nygaard contributes at least $10 million to get Christie elected and paid to have individuals spread bad press about the party in power at the time. Nygaard, this is the guy whose obituary's just come up. He looks familiar. Okay. Nygaard and Christie were in regular contact with one another. During and after the election of 2012, Nygaard regularly invited political figures such as Bahamian politician members, including and without limitation to Shane Gibson, and police officers to attend pamper parties. sure Shane Gibson come up in the Diddy case. Here's a photograph of him in 2020 at a pamper party. 2012. 14. I don't know if that's the same guy, actually. Can't remember now. Stupid bitch. Wakey, girls, come on. It's shocking, isn't it?
How's the kitty? Where is the kitty? I'm trying to find the kitty.
Just doing an outright kitty.
I'm trying to find that kitty.
Oh, she's a baby of all babies.
I need a kitty.
I love my kitty catty. Oh, yeah, you are the sexy one. I'm on live. I'm on live. I forgot. Yeah, you give me out and talking while I'm talking. She don't like me talking because then she can't talk.
Why the hell
She sits there and listens to look. Such a nosy cat.
You're a little...
Just so nosy.
I've seen that for the camera.
Beautiful. Beautiful nosy baby.
Are people even listening?
Lisa, one listens to me. No one else does.
I do.
No, I'm not joking. No.
Then you must have forgotten the fact that school's tomorrow.
What?
Then you must have forgotten the fact that school's tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I got the screen covered over my eye. What do you think? It's so long without everything.
Big kitty. Oh, she just sniffed my finger.
Is she?
She put her nose on my finger and I said, oh, you big kitty. me. She bit me.
Nygaard also provided PLP party members, including Shane Gibson and the corrupt police officers, with children and young women to engage with. Nygaard did so to gain influence with these politicians and law enforcement officials, as well as gain compromising information about them in order to exert his influence over them. On September 2012, shortly after the election, Prime Minister Christie and other ranking members of the PLP visited Nygaard.
Look at the kitty. She's a kitty.
These are all individuals in housing and environmental, education, agriculture. You imagine being corrupt by all these people, then the national insurance. So it's everything. Everything in Barbados is corrupt, you know. He was paid approximately 94, I think that's 94 million prior to the general election of 2019. It's not a million, is it? Am I not reading that properly? Harriet must be. I'm dyslexic, so I need that.
I don't know.
49,000. Is that
94,000.
Is it?
400,000 million.
9,400 million. I mean, 9,400,000, sorry. 301.10. Okay. The funds were deposited directly to his account and payments were made with funds from the Nygaard company. Here's the proof of that. Okay. Professional services. Here we are. Travel Nassau to Miami. For goods. You know, very, very vague. Eric Gibson, who sounds like Shane Gibson's brother, was also on Nygaard's payroll and was paid directly by Nygaard companies, but was known by Nygaard CC employees to have a check ready for Eric Gibson every week. Okay? But they did not know what work that he provided for Nygaard. Pat Smith, PLP loyalist with connections to Perry Christie, was also provided with payments from Nygaard. Okay. Nygaard was also close to Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davies and regularly met with him and paid bribes to him and political aides. To say these accusations, you mustn't have proof. Okay, so they got proof of everything. They overlooked his illegal activities. What does it say about the police here? Nygaard had Bohemian police officers on his payroll. He used them to help bury any reports of abuse and intimidation, threatening or to arrest and otherwise harass the victims to ensure that they would not come forward. Nygaard often alludes to the fact in front of his girlfriends that he is powerful enough in the Bahamas to have people killed without being investigated. Okay? To make that claim, you know, he's done it, okay? Indeed, Nygaard learned that the investigation of his illegal acts, he engaged lawyers to facilitate bribery payments to the top Bohemian police officials to get more information that would enable him to attempt to bribe victims or intimidate them into silence. I'm going to leave this here and carry it on. Okay?
Just go upstairs.
No, I'm going to end the year live. I hope anyone... I don't want people in the chat who are 15. This is for over 21. Don't come into my chat if you're younger than that. I have this for people who are over 21. Okay, this isn't the site for you. This is about crime. Thanks for people who've come along, but please, I don't want anybody younger than 21 in my chat. Thank you.